What's up, everybody? Okay, so I'm just about finished with the subfloor now, and before I button it all up, I want to kind of show you what's going on in the inside because there's not a lot of footage of some of these steps. So first thing, I am still editing a video, a time-lapse video of right after I finished putting the 2x6 subfloor together, the frame together, flipped it over and put metal sheeting on the bottom. I looked in a lot of different places trying to find like the best deal and the best sizes, and I found a place that I could get like 4-foot pieces, and that would have been great because I could have just taken 2 4-foot pieces and run down with one seam, tape one seam, be done. But those were like $400 for the amount of metal I need, and then like $350 just to ship it to me. So that wasn't going to work. I couldn't source any of that locally, so I just went with Plan B. So Plan B was to go and get galvanized metal flashing. It's available in sizes from like 8 inches up to about 24 inches. And so what I did is that I got about 7 rolls of it, and I rolled each roll out along one edge of the floor and screwed it in, and then did the next one with about a 1-inch overlap between pieces, and then the next one, and the next one, and the next one, until I had the whole thing covered. I will have a video coming that shows all that being done in time lapse, but I don't have it done yet because I suck at editing. So that's why I usually do this video in one big long take, and I don't try to do a bunch of cuts because I'd never release the damn video. So once the flashing was all attached, I had some friends come over and help me flip it back over. So now the flashing is on the bottom of the entire trailer, and the flashing is just there to prevent rocks, insects, mice from coming up into the insulation in the floor. The flashing is galvanized, and I read some. I initially went with galvanized in the first place because aluminum flashing was a little bit cheaper, but it said it might react with the pressure treated wood, so I didn't want to use that. So I did some research and I bought the galvanized, and then after I bought the galvanized, I discovered that the new pressure treated wood might actually react to the galvanized flashing. So I already had the flashing, but I didn't want to put it on and have it just start to disintegrate, and after a few years have the whole bottom rot out of the thing. So I got this tape. It's kind of like electrical tape or duct tape, and I covered the entire beam anywhere the wood was going to be in contact with the metal, got covered in the tape. And it's a UV resistant, waterproof tape. It's for like sealing like a gas line. It's not sealing it, but wrapping a gas line when you're going to put it in the ground. So I used that as a barrier between the metal and the wood actually touching. And the tape is about 20 bucks. But you could actually save money by buying aluminum flashing using the tape, because the galvanized flashing cost more, and it didn't solve the problem. So that's one thing. So after I had the metal and the wood done, but I hadn't put the insulation batting in yet, I went ahead and drilled about 50 holes through the 2x6 into the steel frame underneath, and then attached it all with a 7-inch long carriage bolt. So here's one of my leftover carriage bolts right here. This is a cold dip rolled steel galvanized carriage bolt, which is supposed to resist the elements, and since they're going to be holding the bottom of my trailer, which is going to be exposed to the elements, to the frame of the house, I figured that might be a crucial step. So I didn't just use the regular ones from the hardware store. I special ordered these, and it actually ended up being cheaper than buying them from the hardware store, but just the regular ones. and mine are galvanized, so they're ready to be outside. So the way I attached everything is, you can see one of the holes right here, there's one here, and it's covered with the batting, but there's another one here, and there's another one over there, so there's 3 in this strip, and pretty much everywhere there's a beam going across, it is bolted down all the way back. And then all 3 of the sections of the trailer, there's the big section, and then there's the small section in the middle where the wheel wells are, and then another big section. Those 3 sections are all bolted together through each frame like this in addition. So it's super solid now in a way that it never was before. The whole frame, I can walk on it back and forth, and there's no creaking. It's a nice solid surface. I'm pretty happy. So I wanted to go ahead and give you this step because as soon as I put the final piece of subfloor up here, once I put the decking on, you won't be able to see these bolts anymore, and there's no way to show it to you other than right now. That's why I haven't finished that. I'm going to finish it as soon as I finish this video. So what I did is to drill these holes. The reason this is a really time-consuming process is because what a lot of people would do is drill all the holes for the wood separately, and then mark those holes on the metal, pull the wood back off, and then drill the metal. This thing weighs, each piece weighs a couple hundred pounds, and I can't, with my back and being one person, I can't do that. So it took 3 guys to, once the metal was on, it took 3 guys to be able to lift up one side of this, stand it up, and then let it fall back over. We didn't actually have to pick the entire thing up, and it still took 3 guys. I couldn't do that on my own, so what I had to do is I had to drill down through the wood, then switch out to a metal bit, drill through the metal, and then put it together that way. And it ended up taking a total of 5 bits to do the job. So what I would do is first, this is a wood, it's like a 3/4 or 1 inch wood cutting, hole cutting bit, and I would go down just about a 1/2 inch into the block at that size. And then I switched to this really super long, because they don't make it in like an intermediate size, like that would be, all I really needed was 6 inches, but they don't make 6 inches. So my choices are 4 inches or 12. So then I drilled down into the center of the hole I had just made and drill all the way through the wood until I can hear it hit the metal. When it hits metal, I pull this back out. And I initially was using this really tiny pilot hole. This is like a 3/8 inch metal bit. And again, it's super long because it's got to reach through here, and they don't make the intermediate sizes. Really stupid in my opinion. But that's all I could do. I even looked for special order, couldn't find it. What ended up being necessary, this one ended up being superfluous, so after I did about 20 of them, I decided I don't really need this step anymore, and it saves me 5 minutes to not do this, so I got rid of it. This is a 1/4 inch metal bit, and this is a 1/2 inch metal bit. They recommend when you're drilling a metal hole to use the smaller bit first, and then once you've already got kind of a pilot hole, then the other bit is not working as hard and it goes through faster, and it's less friction, there's less heat. The heat is what's going to destroy your bits and make you buy new ones. I had to replace both of these 3 times. Each time you replace these 2, it's like 30 or 40 bucks. So, when you think you're going to do this in a day, you're not, unless you're just the kind of guy who goes, okay, I'm going to buy, 5 of each bit when I go to the store and spend $300 on drill bits, then maybe you could knock it out in a day. But yeah, I would go through these things until they were dull and it was taking a half an hour to drill one hole, and then I'd have to go to something else. WD-40 makes, I'm sure somebody else makes it too, but they make a special formulation of their stuff for drilling on metal. And if you use that, it'll help cut down on the friction. You will cut through the metal faster and with less heat. The hotter you allow your drill bit to get, the quicker it's going to go dull. So once the hole was drilled with the metal, with the wood, I was going all the way through the wood. I would drop the metal bits in and go through first the metal that I had added on, the metal, the galvanized layer, which is only like, a few, like less than a millimeter thick. It's really thin. And then it would have to go through about a 1/4 inch of steel, which is what the I-beams that make up the trailer are. So, and then once that was done, the reason I countersunk this first 1-inch hole is so that this carriage bolt would fit down in the floor. I'm sorry, I can't, if I'm getting this angle bad, but so like this, so that when I put the floor over it, the bolt's not sticking up in the way. So that's why it was a really time-consuming process, but it's done, and now the whole trailer is solid, and as soon as I put this last piece on over this insulation, then the subfloor is completely done and we can start building walls. Once the bolts were in place, the whole thing was bolted down, before I put the insulation in, I wrapped it with Tyvek house wrap. The Tyvek is, the printed side of the Tyvek is facing down. And the reason for that, I thought I had a piece laying around here that I can show you. The reason for that is the outside of the Tyvek is water resistant and moisture, is like a vapor barrier. It only works one way though. So if water's on the inside, it can still get out. If there's moisture on the inside of the house, it can still release that moisture. But you don't want water to get in. So facing Tyvek down means that if there was a pipe burst in the house and there's water spraying everywhere, it sprays down onto the subfloor and it gets down into the insulation, and I don't want it to get trapped down in there. I want it to get out. So if it'll come out, and it'll come out some of the seams where the metal is overlaying on each other. I drilled a few holes just for that purpose, kind of randomly throughout the trailer to allow for water to escape without allowing too many things access into the underside. The Tyvek is there to prevent moisture that might be in the ground from rising up into and rotting out the floor. I'm trying to build this thing to last forever so that I don't have to build one again, unless I just want to. So then I bought a 2x6 insulation. So it's you know, like a 2x4 insulation that you use in a wall wouldn't be thick enough. It wouldn't cover the whole space. You have air gaps in there, and you don't want air gaps if you want the insulation to work properly. So in some places, because my horizontal braces were not all uniform. Like this one is pretty uniform, he's 16-inch, so boom, it fits right in. They're not all uniform, some of them are shorter. I did that because, you know, if you're using 4-foot pieces of decking, if you have a brace every 4 feet, then, you know, it's just easy, boom, boom, boom. So even if that 4 foot didn't fall within, and then also I had to put them in for wherever there's a cross brace on the actual steel trailer. So there's a couple of spaces where there might only be 6 inches between each sheet, and there's some spaces where it might be 18, 20 inches between. So to do that, I had to cut certain pieces of insulation and fit them in next to others, and, you know, tape that all out. It's not gorgeous, it's not perfect, but the idea is to fill all the holes and the gaps so that there's no air pockets under there that get cold. Just kind of like hair on your head keeps your scalp warm. So where I'm at is that this piece will be covering this. The subfloor will be done at that point, and I'm going to start marking out like the interior dimensions of walls and the bathroom walls, and kind of get an idea, a real life feel for if my plans are going to work or if I need to change the plan. I'm also going to be, as soon as this is buttoned up and I get all the lights finished, get all the lights fully wired up, take it to the DMV and get it registered as a flatbed trailer, because then it's legal to take it on the street, which right now it isn't. And then we'll start building walls. So I got all these windows that have been sitting here for 6 months or whatever, and I'm finally going to put them in some walls soon. So that'll be awesome. Anyway, happy holidays. holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you like, whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate. And